Chapter 3. The Shattered Illusions. Celine and Iris strode briskly toward the home of the priests, their steps matching in both speed and intensity. The midday sun hung high in the sky, though it cast an airiness over them, knowing that her daughter's life was hanging in the balance. Celine's eyes scanned the cobblestone pathway that led to the home, her memory pulling her toward a quaint building shaded by willows, adorned with ancient runes and symbols. "We're here," Celine announced, her voice tinged with expectation. Iris halted beside her, her eyes narrowing. "Where exactly? Because where you're pointing, there's nothing." Celine's heart plummeted as she followed Iris's gaze. Indeed, where the abode of the priests once stood, there was now an empty clearing. The willows swayed like ghosts, and the cobblestones seemed to mock them with their inanimate silence. "It was here. It has to be. I just seen it," Celine stammered, her hands trembling. "Could it have been an illusion? A mirage created to make us stray from our path?" Iris asked, her eyes glowing faintly with frustration. "I don't know, but I do know that we need answers," Celine said. With a flick of her wrist, Iris summoned a pentagram that hovered midair, glowing red. She chanted an incantation, and from the depths of the abyss, Orobus manifested before them. "Speak, demon. Why is the home of the priests gone? Where is Valeria?" Iris demanded. Orobus smirked, a sliver of malice in his eyes. "Why would I tell you, untrue one?" Iris's eyes blazed with fury. "Don't test me, Orobus. I serve only the faithful, and you, Iris, have faltered." Orobus retorted before dissipating into a whirlwind of dark mist. Iris clenched her fists, her nails digging into her palm. If Orobus won't help, there are others who might. Summoning another pentagram, this one larger and more complex, Iris chanted incantations older than the ages. The air crackled with tension before yielding to the form of Belial, the demon of lies. "Ah, Iris. To what do I owe the pleasure?" Belial grinned, his eyes darting between the two women. "I demand passage to the realm of the Forsaken. I wish to bring back Dorian," Iris declared, ignoring Belial's sarcasm. Belial looked intrigued. "And what would you offer in return?" Iris took a deep breath. "Once Dorian is back, I shall abandon my quest to save Valeria." Celine gasped, her eyes widening in disbelief. "Iris, you can't!" Ignoring Celine, Belial cackled. "Ah, the plot thickens. Very well, I shall grant your request." The rift appeared in the fabric of reality. From it, a corpse stumbled out. Dorian's corpse, or rather, a corpse that was rapidly healing itself, regenerating lost tissue, mending broken bones. Soon it was Dorian who stood before them, though his eyes held a darker, more sinister light. "Welcome back, my love," Iris cooed, touching his face as if to confirm he was real. Dorian smiled, though it didn't reach his eyes. "I'm back, but not the same." "I know," Iris said softly. "Neither am I. We have to abandon our quest for Valeria." Celine was aghast. "You cannot mean that. Iris, she's my daughter." Iris looked at Celine, her eyes emotionless. "I made a deal, Celine. It's done!" Panic gripped Celine's heart. She turned to Dorian, falling to her knees. "Please, Dorian, help me save our daughter." Dorian looked down at Celine, his eyes pools of dark ambiguity. "Valeria chose her path, and we chose ours. The scales are balanced. But no buts, Celine. We have forsaken her, now we must live with the consequences," Dorian interrupted, his voice cold and final. The world seemed to crumble around Celine. Her family was falling apart, and with it, her last slivers of hope. As Dorian and Iris turned away, hand in hand, Celine felt the weight of her solitude crushing her. For the first time, she questioned the quest that had led them here, the choices they had made, and the sacrifices that now seemed in vain. Her mind raced with desperation and denial, but her heart knew the grim reality. There was no home to go back to, no sanctuary, no saving grace. Her family had fractured, and all that remained was an empty clearing beneath willows that swayed like mournful ghosts, whispering secrets she would never understand. With a sorrowful sigh, Celine closed her eyes, her tears mingling with the earth. The scales were balanced, but the balance was a terrible, heartbreaking symmetry. And as she sat there, in the space that was once a sanctuary, Celine realized she was utterly, irrevocably alone. Sitting alone in that empty clearing, Celine's thoughts swirled like a tempest. The willows seemed to weep with her, their drooping branches an outward manifestation of her internal anguish. She felt abandoned by the universe, forsaken by her own family. Her soul ached in a hollow emptiness that no spiritual invocation could mend. Suddenly a glint caught her eye. Something shiny was half buried under the earth, where the home of the priest had stood. Curiosity momentarily replacing despair, she crawled to the spot and began to dig. Her fingers soon touched a smooth, metallic object. It was an amulet shaped like a crescent moon, an artifact of the old ways of the priests. As her fingers closed around the amulet, she felt a pulse of energy. A rush of ancient words filled her mind, a language she didn't know but strangely understood. A summoning incantation. With newfound hope, Celine clasped the amulet and recited the incantation. The earth trembled and a figure materialized in front of her. It was an apparition, translucent but radiant. Who dares summon the guardian spirit of the priesthood? The figure demanded, its voice echoing in the wind. I'm Celine. My family and I were on a quest to save my daughter, hunting for the priests who lived here. But now the home is gone and my family is falling apart. I seek your guidance, Celine replied, her voice tinged with desperation. The spirit looked at her intently, its ethereal eyes piercing through her soul. You possess the amulet of lunar wisdom. Very well, I shall help you, but know that my assistance comes at a price. Celine's heart sank again. What price? The balance of life is maintained through sacrifice. A life for a life, the spirit replied. Her mind instantly went to Iris and Dorian, to the sacrifices they had made to fulfill their own desires, abandoning her and Valeria in the process. Is there no other way? Choices have consequences, Celine. To mend what is broken, something else must break. But know this, the spirit realm is not as linear as your earthly plane. A life for a life could be interpreted in many ways. Her eyes widened. The spirit's words offered a sliver of hope, a nuance that she hadn't considered. Tell me more. How can I save Valeria? To save your daughter, you must journey to the Etherean realm. But the path is fraught with peril, and the entrance is guarded by the Serpent of Fate, a creature that cannot be easily deceived or defeated, the spirit warned. I'll do it. I have to, Celine said, determination surging through her veins. Very well. Wear the amulet of lunar wisdom. It shall guide you and protect you in the realm, said the spirit, fading away and leaving Celine alone once again. With a deep breath, Celine put the amulet around her neck. As she did, ancient runes appeared in her vision, forming a map to the Etherean realm. Iris and Dorian stood at the edge of the dark forest, the newly resurrected Dorian adjusting to the sensations of the earthly realm. His eyes were distant, his gaze vacant. We can't go back now, can we? Iris asked, breaking the silence. Dorian turned his gaze to her. We've made choices that can't be undone. I'm no longer the man you remember, Iris. I know, but you're the man I want. The man I need, Iris replied, her voice tinged with melancholy. Dorian stepped closer and kissed her, a kiss that felt like a communion of two damned souls. Then let's embrace the darkness together. Celine stood before an immense stone archway covered in intertwining serpents, their eyes glowing ominously. She knew she had arrived at the entrance to the Etherean realm. The Serpent of Fate hissed, its eyes locking onto the amulet around Celine's neck. You seek passage? It inquired, its voice dripping with suspicion. I seek to save my daughter, to balance the scales that others have skewed, Celine replied, clutching the amulet tightly. Many have tried and failed. What makes you different? Celine looked straight into the serpent's eyes. I possess the amulet of lunar wisdom, and I am willing to pay the price, whatever it may be. The serpent hissed, its eyes scrutinizing her soul. Very well, you may pass, but remember, the Etherean realm is not kind to those who seek to manipulate fate. A life for a life. Celine nodded, her resolve unwavering. I understand. As she crossed the archway, Celine felt a surge of energy envelop her, the amulet pulsating in rhythm with her heartbeat. She knew she was walking a dangerous path, a tightrope over an abyss of unknown consequences. But for Valeria, she would risk it all, even if it meant shattering the balance that everyone else had so selfishly skewed. And so she stepped into the Etherean realm, not knowing that her journey would unravel secrets darker than she had ever imagined. Secrets that could either save her daughter or doom them all. As the archway sealed behind her, the Serpent of Fate whispered to itself, the scales are wobbling. Let's see if she can tip them.